Good morning. I'm here to give you further the things that make marriages last. In the previous times, we discussed 5. And now I'm bringing 3 very strong points that make stronger bonds. One of them is communication. Communication is very important. When I communicate with you, I should be able to do it in such a way that you understand what I'm doing and then you respond appropriately to me. But what a lot of people do in communication is that they just blot out what they want to say and they don't care whether the other partner accepts. Now, real good communication has to do with what you say, how the other person understands it, and the feedback the person gives. Now, follow me. Good communication will make you know that what you are saying, you are not just saying it the way you feel it. You have to say it and make sure that you put it in a way that the other partner understands what you are saying. If you don't do it, you have not communicated. You have to make sure that the channel of communication and where you are doing that communication is getting straight to the person you are communicating with. For example, what should be said in the bedroom should be said in the bedroom and kept in the bedroom. What should be said in the parlor should be said in the parlor, or said before the children or before visitors. That is how it works. If the channel is right, the person will understand you. Now, you need to know that there is something called non-verbal communication. You can be telling somebody thank you, but your face is not saying thank you. That is non-verbal communication. And if your face is not saying thank you, it means the person is understanding that you are not really thankful. That is communication. So make sure that you pattern your non-verbal communication to rhyme with your verbal communication. Now, you must know that people see in symbols. Even you yourself, you see in symbols. When I'm speaking with you, what you are seeing is a symbolic aspect of what I'm saying. You are not seeing it in words. You are seeing a symbol. And the way it gets converted inside you is that you turn those symbols into words. And when those words come, they now come as a response. Now, you see that there are different schedules and processes, and oftentimes mistakes happen in those conversions. And so somebody can be meaning to say this, but you see it in a different symbol and you convert in a different way, and you have a different response for that person. And where does this bring us to? It brings us to know that when you say something to somebody and the person misunderstands it, it could be the process of that conversion that made that misunderstanding possible, which means that you must work hard at making sure that what you are passing through communication is not misunderstood. It happens with everybody. It's not just with your spouse. It's with everybody. And we must work on communication to make it work. That is very, very important. The second thing I want to bring out is that you need to be large on trust and emotional intimacy. Your partner needs to trust you, and you need to trust your partner. And the best way to trust is to apply emotional intimacy. Begin to think well. It's an intentional thing. Think well about that person. Let me tell you, if you are thinking bad about somebody and the person tells you any good thing, you will consider that thing is bad. So the way that your mind is focused, it's very important first, so that when you hear what your partner is saying, you'll be able to use that good mind, that positive mind, to be able to interact and interpret it positively. So the impression you tell yourself about your spouse, the impression you give yourself about your spouse, what you intentionally think about that person, affects what you think about what he said. Isn't that important? Isn't that funny too? Now, make sure that you think positively about your spouse, so that when they come in with their words, you'll be able to interpret it positively. Please apply emotional intimacy with your spouse. The other thing is to be vulnerable with your spouse. Vulnerability is very important. Vulnerability is hinged on trust. Sometimes people are not vulnerable because previously they were vulnerable and their spouses use their vulnerability to attack them, to disrespect them. Couples should never disrespect themselves because of the other person's vulnerability. Take it as one, that if you see and notice a weakness, or if your partner ever tells you about a weakness, and you should never use it against that partner. It's important that you do this, because if you ever use the partner's vulnerability, the person will never trust you again, will never show up any vulnerability. These are the 3 important things I want to drop today as per the things that make marriages last and that create a stronger bond. Let's continue practicing this thing and doing these things, and you will see a practical change. One of the things about communication, which I just remembered now, is that sometimes when your partner is communicating with you, don't firm up. Look at that person and show that you are understanding, you are hearing, you are listening, and use gesticulations to make the person know that you are understanding. Don't firm up and get ready for the response you want to give to that person, because when you do, you will not even hear what the person is saying. You will not understand what the person is saying, but you will blot out what you had planned in your package in your heart. These are the little things, and I pray that you use these things to make your marriage work. Good morning and God's blessings.